the moment Ethan took a deep breath, ready to blow out the glowing candles on his cake. "Rachel," my wife said it so casually, "the lawyer will send the divorce papers on Monday." The air froze. The knife in my hand stopped mid-air. Ethan hadn't blown yet. Lily was still clapping, laughing. Only me. My heart clenched like a fist around it. My son's 10th birthday turned into the death notice of my marriage. I looked at Rachel, hoping it was just a bad joke. But her eyes were calm. Her face, blank, as if she were giving the weather report. In a room full of balloons and children's laughter, all I could hear was silence. The small ring box in my pocket turned heavy as stone. I had planned, after Ethan blew the candles, to open it, to ask Rachel to marry me again. A reminder that our love was still alive, that I still wanted to walk with her. I thought tonight would be a celebration, for my son and for our marriage. But with one sentence, everything collapsed. Ethan blew out the candles. Thin white smoke curled upward, fading into the dim yellow light. I cut the cake, passed slices to the kids, forced a smile. But inside I knew. My smile was as fragile as that smoke, gone in seconds. I didn't ask why. I didn't want to ruin Ethan's birthday joy. But every part of me screamed, why tonight? Why in front of the kids? I looked at Ethan and Lily, still so innocent, unaware of the storm about to hit. My heart sank. From this moment on, their world would be different. A world where Mom and Dad no longer stood side by side. That night, long after they had fallen asleep, I stayed at the table. The kitchen still carried the sweet scent of vanilla, but all I could taste was bitterness stuck in my throat. They say, there are birthdays you'll never forget. For me, it was the day my family finally broke apart. My son's birthday became the funeral of my marriage. I'm John Miller, 42 years old, a construction engineer. People usually picture an engineer, a white shirt, sitting in front of blueprints. But my life has always been about hard hats, cement dust on my boots, and cold mornings on the job site, clutching a hot cup of coffee. I wasn't born into wealth. My father was a carpenter. My mother worked in a tailor shop. They taught me something simple. If you want it, you earn it yourself. Rachel was different. She came from a world I only saw through a window as a kid. Her father, a well-known lawyer. Her mother, running a charity fund. Their house sat in a rich neighborhood. Lawns trimmed sharp. Porch lights glowing golden every night. I met Rachel in college. I studied engineering. She studied law. Back then, I wore old shirts my mother had patched up. She walked with confidence, her brown hair falling over her shoulders. I admired her sharp eyes and thought I'd never reach her. But somehow, we talked, we laughed, and we fell in love. Rachel once told me, I'm tired of fake parties. I just want something real. I believed her. I wanted to believe I was that something real. On the day I proposed, her father looked me in the eye and said coldly, "You're not enough for my daughter." But Rachel gripped my hand and whispered, "I don't need enough. I need love." So we married. Not fancy. Just a few close friends. And my small family. I thought love would cover every difference. The first years, we lived in a cramped apartment in the suburbs. I left early for work, came home late. Rachel was just starting her law career. We had little money. Some nights, we ate instant noodles, sitting on the floor, and still laughed until we forgot our exhaustion. I remember Rachel once holding me, whispering, "As long as I have you, I'm enough." When Ethan was born, I held his tiny body, crying tears of joy. 3 years later, Lily came. Her eyes shone bright, just like her mother's. I thought, maybe God had given me everything I ever needed. But over time, the differences grew. Rachel's career soared, and I was still covered in cement dust. I was proud of my work. But in those law firm parties, I was just a man lost in a borrowed suit. I once caught that flicker in Rachel's eyes, a hint of embarrassment when she introduced me to her colleagues. Her mother one day hinted, "John, why don't you try investing in something worthy of my daughter?" I just smiled, but her words cut deep, like broken glass. I wasn't a perfect husband. I worked long hours, too long sometimes. There were nights Rachel ate dinner alone. She once told me, "Are you ever really here with me? Even when you sit across from me, your mind's still at the job site." I got angry. I snapped back. I work for this family. But when the bedroom door slammed shut, I realized maybe she was right. My sacrifices had become distance. And those distances kept multiplying. One Friday night, I remember it clearly. I cleared the dinner table. The food had gone cold. The pizza, hard as stone. The kids had fallen asleep on their chairs. Rachel texted, "Busy meeting. Don't wait." I sat alone, chewed a slice of cold pizza, and felt my heart go cold too. Ethan, my 10-year-old, loved to draw. One day he showed me a picture of the four of us, holding hands under the sun. I smiled, told him it was beautiful. But inside, it broke me. Because in real life, we rarely held hands anymore. Lily would curl up in my lap and whisper, "Daddy, I love you the most." I hugged her tight and hid my fear that one day I might not hear those words again. I tried to make up for it. Once I bought tickets for a musical Rachel had always wanted to see. But that night, she had an urgent trial. I sat outside the theater, holding 2 tickets, feeling like a fool. I didn't blame her, but I knew we were drifting apart. From the outside, we looked perfect. A house, 2 sweet kids, a successful couple. But inside, the cracks widened. I told myself love was enough. But deep down, I knew. Love was running dry, like an empty glass, and neither of us poured more in. Some nights, I sat in the car, not rushing to step inside. I'd watch the warm yellow lights through the window and wonder, does Rachel still love me, or is she just keeping up appearances? I feared the answer, so I stayed silent. If someone had asked me, before that birthday party, what my family was like, I'd have said, like a great bridge, strong on the outside. But inside, the steel was already rusting. I didn't know when it would collapse. I just hoped it would last longer. But I was wrong. Because that night, when Rachel spoke the word divorce in front of our kids, I realized every crack I'd ignored wasn't just cracks. It was an earthquake, waiting to tear everything apart. After Ethan's birthday party, the house felt like another place. The lights were still on. Dinner was still served. The kids still laughed. But all I could hear was the echo of her words. The lawyer will send the divorce papers on Monday. From that night on, I started noticing every small detail about Rachel. Things I once ignored became painfully clear. One night, close to 11, I had just put Lily to sleep. I made Rachel a cup of ginger tea. The office door was cracked open, blue light spilling out from her laptop screen. I walked closer and froze. I heard her laugh. Not a casual laugh at some video, but soft, warm, intimate. Her voice followed. "You always know how to make me laugh." My hands shook. The tea rattled in the cup. My heart pounded like it was trying to break free. I leaned closer to the door. Beyond the tapping of keys, silence. I stepped back, swallowed hard. I wanted to storm in, shout, "Who are you talking to?" But my throat locked tight. I walked to the kitchen, drank the cold tea myself. That night, I lay beside Rachel, but turned my back. Awake till morning, a single thought repeating in my head. If she still loved me, why hide? Another morning, Rachel rushed out, leaving a stack of papers on the table. I gathered them and froze. A credit card bill. Hilton Hotel, $480, Sunday. My blood ran cold. That Sunday, Rachel had told me she had a law meeting to prep for a big trial. I believed her. I took the kids to the park all day, proud to give her space. When she came home, I showed her the bill, my voice trembling. "What is this?" She hesitated, just for a second. Then calmly, "A client wanted to meet at the hotel. Confidential case files. I told you before, there are things about my work you don't understand." Her tone was steady, too perfect. I nodded, silent. But inside, I was split in two. Half of me wanted to believe. The other half screamed, "She's lying." $480 for a meeting? That night, I poured myself whiskey. The glass trembled in the light. It looked back at me like an eye, mocking. "You're weak, John. Too weak to face the truth." One Saturday, I took Ethan to his soccer game. On the way back, stopped at a red light. I glanced at the cafe on the corner, and my heart stopped. Rachel, sitting there, with Daniel, the man I'd once met at her firm's party. They laughed. Too close. Her hand brushed against his as she smiled. I froze behind the wheel. "Dad, I scored 2 goals today," Ethan beamed. I forced a smile. "That's great, son." But inside, my chest cracked open. The light turned green. The car moved forward. But in my mind, that image burned like fire. That night, Rachel came home. Her shirt carried a strange perfume. I sat in the dark, waiting. When she walked in, I said nothing. I just stood and went upstairs. I didn't dare ask. I didn't dare hear the answer. A bitter voice echoed inside me. Will silence save this family? Or kill it faster? Some nights I sat alone on the porch, staring at my own house lit up in yellow light, feeling like a stranger outside my own life. I heard Rachel typing upstairs, the kids laughing in their room, and me, the so-called man of the house, feeling like I had no place left. I once thought silence would protect my family, but silence only erased me from my own home. One late night, after I tucked Lily in, Rachel was waiting in the living room, her eyes distant, her voice hoarse. John, I don't think we can go on like this anymore. I sat down. My heart stopped. She took a deep breath and said it, clear, final. I'm not sure I love you anymore. The world exploded in my head. I stared at the woman who once promised to walk through life with me, now sitting across from me, cold, like a stranger. The house was silent, except for the ticking clock, counting down to the day my family would truly fall apart. Rachel's words hung over me like a death sentence. I'm not sure I love you anymore. I sat there, drained, like every drop of blood had left my body. The room I knew so well suddenly felt foreign. And the woman in front of me, the one who once vowed to walk beside me for life, now stared at me with eyes cold as steel. From that day on, the house grew heavy. Breakfast was only the sound of spoons against bowls. Ethan sat quiet, eyes down. Lily, still innocent, asked, Mommy, will you take me to school today? Rachel shook her head. I'm busy, Daddy will. I clenched my teeth, swallowing bread like stones. Family life, once the simplest happiness, had turned into a silent battlefield, where silence itself was the slowest weapon of all. One night, near midnight, Rachel walked in. I couldn't hold it back. Where were you, Rachel? I called a dozen times. She slipped off her shoes, calm. Are you trying to control me? I was working. I don't owe you a report every minute. I shot up, voice sharp. Working? At the Hilton Hotel? You think I'm that stupid? Her eyes flared. You doubt me every second. Yes, I met a client there. So what? You know nothing about my work. I roared, fists clenched. I don't need to know your work. I need a wife I can trust, not someone sneaking off with another man. The house exploded. Ethan woke, ran down the stairs, crying out, Stop it, I hate you both. Then he broke down, ran back to his room. Lily clutched her pillow, wide-eyed, on the edge of tears. I froze. Rachel's stare burned into me. Her eyes said it all. Look what you did, you scared them. Days later, Rachel was in the shower. Her phone buzzed on the table. A message flashed across the screen. I miss you. See you tonight. My hand shook, my chest ready to explode. I picked up the phone, stormed into the bathroom. What is this, Rachel? She opened the door, hair dripping, glanced once, then snatched it back, calm as stone. A client. Wrong emoji. Don't be childish. I shouted. Wrong? A client says I miss you? Her voice cut sharp. John, you're sick. You see enemies everywhere. Your paranoia? That's what's killing this marriage. Her words hit harder than a fist. And just like that, I went from the betrayed to the accused. Before I could recover, her parents arrived. Her father slammed the table. John, let my daughter go. She's suffered enough. You may be a good father, but you'll never be the husband she deserves. Her mother sighed, voice just as bitter. John, maybe it's time you thought of Rachel. Don't chain her to your small life. My fists bled from how tight I held them. But Rachel stayed silent. Not a word to defend me. I understood then. I was fighting alone. That night, Ethan sat beside me, his eyes red. Dad, if Mom really leaves, will you leave me too? My heart shattered. I held him close, whispered, Never. No matter what she does, I'll always be here, always. He nodded, but his small shoulders trembled. He understood more than I wished he did. Lily began having nightmares, running into my bed crying. Daddy, I'm scared Mommy will go away. Each time, I held her tight. But inside, I was shaking too. I decided to try one last time. I found a marriage counselor, booked an appointment. I handed Rachel the paper. I've set this up, just once, for the kids. She glanced at it, cold. You still don't get it, do you? I don't want to fix it. I want freedom. My voice cracked. Freedom means Daniel? This time, Rachel didn't deny it. She paused, then said, You're not enough for me, John. Daniel understands me better. My chest collapsed, like the life had drained out of me. The next evening, I came home to find an open suitcase on the bed. Rachel folding clothes, her face calm, like she was packing for a business trip. I rushed to her side, voice breaking. "Rachel, are you really leaving?" She didn't look at me. "I need space. I'll be somewhere else for a while." Ethan and Lily ran down the stairs, their eyes locked on the suitcase. They clung to her legs. "Mom, please don't go," Ethan sobbed. "Stay with us, Mommy," Lily cried, tiny hands gripping tight. I fell to my knees, begged. "Rachel, look at them. How can you leave them?" But Rachel bent down, pried their little fingers from her leg. Her voice hoarse, final. "I'm sorry, but I have to." The suitcase snapped shut. The wheels rolled across the floor. Like the sound of a verdict delivered, the door slammed. And there we were, me and the kids, crumpled on the floor, drowning in silence. The days after Rachel left, the house felt soulless. Ethan grew quiet. He no longer sketched his little drawings. Every night, Lily clung to me and whispered, "Daddy, Mom will come back, right?" I couldn't answer. I just held her, and let my tears fall silently on the pillow. Then, the summons came. Rachel had filed for divorce. She wanted full custody of the kids. In the papers, she wrote, "John Miller is not financially or emotionally stable enough to raise them." Each line tore open my chest. The woman who once promised to walk beside me, now painting me as unfit before the law. On the day of court, I wore my old suit. The shoulders frayed. I stared at myself in the mirror. A thinner man, eyes hollow. I told myself, no matter what, I must stand. For Ethan, for Lily. The courtroom was packed. Rachel sat across from me, elegant, expensive dress. Beside her, a sharp-tongued lawyer. Behind them, Daniel, arms crossed, confident. Her parents sat close, eyes full of disdain. Rachel's lawyer began, "Your Honor, my client, Rachel, is a respected attorney. High income, stable environment. By contrast, John Miller is a second-rate engineer. Unsteady work, frequently absent. Even shows signs of alcohol abuse. Can such a man raise 2 children?" My hands clenched. Blood pressed through my palms. Each word like a knife. Through the glass door, I saw Ethan and Lily waiting. Their anxious eyes cut deeper than any words. Then it was my turn. I rose. My voice shook, but held steady. "Yes, I'm not wealthy, but I'm their father. I was there for every step of their childhood. I taught Ethan how to play soccer. I rocked Lily to sleep each night. I don't have much money, but I have love. And children need love more than anything." The room stirred. Rachel's lawyer smirked. "John speaks of love, but love doesn't pay tuition. Love doesn't cover hospital bills. Let's be real, Your Honor. These children need stability, not promises." My throat locked. I had no more words. Then, through the window, Ethan stood. His voice cracked, but strong. "I want to stay with Dad." The room froze. The judge frowned. "Sit down, young man." But Ethan shook his head, tears streaming. "Mom is never home. She's always gone. It's Dad who cooks. Dad who tells stories. Dad who takes us to school. I don't want to lose him." Lily burst into tears, clutching my hand. The room erupted. I dropped to my knees, held them both. My heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Rachel's face drained pale. Her parents shifted uncomfortably. Then my lawyer, an old friend, stood, calm. "Your Honor, aside from the children's testimony, we have proof Rachel has not placed their best interests first." He played a recording. Rachel's voice filled the court. "If I win custody, I can force John out of their lives." Gasps echoed. Rachel panicked. "No, that's edited." But then came the emails. "I'll use the kids as leverage to end this marriage quickly." The room roared. Daniel bowed his head, avoiding every eye. And then, even more. A colleague of Rachel's rose, trembling. "I can confirm. Rachel once bragged about her affair with Daniel. I can't stay silent, not when the children are being used." The courtroom exploded. Rachel stammered, "No, I didn't." The judge slammed the gavel. "Enough. Rachel has acted against the welfare of her children." The final blow came down. Custody of Ethan and Lily, awarded to John Miller. Rachel may visit, under conditions. The world fell silent. I sat, numb, unsure if I should cry or smile. Ethan rushed into my arms. "I knew you'd never leave us, Dad." Lily clung to my neck, sobbing, her tiny arms wrapping tight. Across the room, Rachel collapsed into her chair, face white as ash. Her parents lowered their heads. Daniel slipped out the back. On the drive home, Ethan and Lily chattered away. "Dad, let's have pizza tonight. Can we go to the park this weekend?" I smiled, but my eyes burned. In the rearview mirror, I saw them. 2 kids, holding each other, smiling as if court never happened. But beside me, the passenger seat stayed empty. Rachel's seat. And I knew, some voids in life can never be filled. Yes, I kept my children, but I lost the woman who once was my whole world. And what remained were only the fragments of a family once called happy. After the trial, the house was quiet again. But this silence was different, not suffocating. It was the silence of 3 people, learning how to start over. Ethan picked up his drawings again, but the pictures had changed. No longer 4 of us, just 3. I smiled, told him, "That's a beautiful picture, son." But inside, my chest tightened. Lily still asked, "Daddy, when will Mommy come visit?" I stroked her hair, forced a smile. "One day, sweetheart, one day." But deep down, my faith thinned with each passing day. The neighborhood whispered, "The poor single dad." Others muttered, "Must have been his fault for his wife to leave." At the job site, a coworker clapped my shoulder. "You holding up, John?" I answered simply, "I'm used to rebuilding from rubble, houses, or lives." I stopped caring about what others thought. All I cared about was keeping my kids smiling. One Saturday afternoon, Rachel came, not glamorous anymore, her face hollow, her eyes dark. Lily ran, hugging her tight. "Mommy, I missed you." But Ethan stood still in the doorway. He looked at her, love and distance in his eyes. Rachel crouched, arms open. "Ethan, come to Mommy." He shook his head, turned away. Rachel froze, her hands hanging in the air. Later, after Lily fell asleep, Rachel sat across from me in the kitchen. Her voice cracked. "John, I'm sorry, I was blind. I used the kids as weapons." For the first time, I looked straight into her eyes. "Rachel, I once thought silence could keep you. But silence only erased me. In my own home. You wanted freedom, you took it. But the price is 2 children growing up with scars." Rachel wept. "You think I don't hurt? You think I'm happy losing them?" I gave a bitter smile. "No, you're not hurting for them. You're hurting because you lost. You played them like cards and forgot. They're my whole world." Her shoulders shook. For the first time, I saw her without pride. Ethan walked out, holding an unfinished drawing. He looked at his mother for a long time, then said softly, "Mom, I still love you, but I'm not leaving. I'm staying with Dad." Rachel broke down, clutched him tight, but Ethan gently pulled away and went back to his room. Lily clung to her, sobbing, "Mommy, stay, don't leave again." I lifted her into my arms, soothing her. Rachel's eyes followed, filled with despair. I knew then. She didn't just lose her children because of court. She lost them because of her own choices. Before leaving, Rachel pulled an old shirt of Ethan's from her bag. She pressed it to her chest, trembling. His scent, I miss it so much. I stood silent. In that moment, I saw she wasn't only the betrayer. She was still a mother, but a mother who had lost herself. I whispered, "Rachel, if you ever want to be their mother again, never use them as tools, not ever." She nodded, tears streaming, then walked away. The days that followed, I learned to be both father and mother. I woke early, made breakfast, braided Lily's hair, walked Ethan to the bus. At night, I helped with homework, told bedtime stories. In the mirror, I saw a different John, older, but no longer weak. I had lost a wife, but I still had 2 children, and they were enough to keep me standing. One evening, Rachel asked me to meet at a cafe. Her eyes were tired. "John, do you still hate me?" I answered quietly, "No, I don't hate you anymore. But I don't love you the same. You were once my everything. Now, you're just a memory. What I must hold on to is the children's future." She gave a sad smile. "Maybe that's the one thing you have that Daniel never did." I shook my head. "No, Rachel. It's not about being better than him. It's about being a father, a real father." She stayed quiet, then left. And this time, I didn't try to stop her. That night, I sat on the porch. Ethan beside me, sketching. Lily, building a castle with wooden blocks. The summer breeze rocked the empty chair next to me, the one that used to be Rachel's. I looked at the chair, then at my children, and I understood. Some emptiness in life will never be filled. But sometimes, that emptiness teaches you to cherish what remains. I lost a wife, but I'm still a father. And that is the one name I will never lose. Weekend night. The little house glowed in soft yellow light. Ethan sat at the table, carefully finishing his drawing. Lily had fallen asleep on the sofa, still clutching her worn-out teddy bear. And I sat on the porch, staring at the starry sky, feeling the wind drift by. The house was peaceful, strangely peaceful, but even in that peace, I still heard an echo of emptiness. On the table before me sat a small wooden box. Inside, our wedding rings, mine, and Rachel's. I couldn't count the times I had opened it, touched that cold band of metal. Each time, it reminded me of when we once believed nothing could break us. I picked up the ring. My fingers trembled. Part of me wanted to slip it back on, clinging to the past. But another voice whispered, "It's time to let go, John." I closed the box, set it down, breathed heavy. But for the first time, my chest felt lighter. Ethan walked out to the porch, holding his finished drawing. In it, just me, Ethan, and Lily, standing beneath a wide sky. In the corner, scribbled words. "Family is still here." My throat tightened. I pulled him close. A shiver ran through me, as if I'd just been lifted from a dark abyss. In that moment, I realized, happiness isn't about keeping everything. It's about cherishing what remains. I looked at my son, whispered, "Yes, son, our family is still here." I no longer hated Rachel. I only mourned the woman she used to be, the woman who once held my hand through the hardest days. Before she lost herself, she was still their mother, and somewhere inside her, she still loved them. But that love wasn't enough to keep this family whole. Maybe love never truly disappears. It only changes shape, from a broken marriage into the bond between father and children, the only love still whole inside me. Night deepened. I sat on the porch, listening to Lily's steady breaths from inside, watching Ethan add the final strokes to his drawing. The breeze stirred the empty chair beside me, the one that once belonged to Rachel. I stared at it for a long time, and it no longer hurt. It simply reminded me, some spaces in life will never be filled, and maybe they don't need to be. I closed my eyes and told myself, I lost a wife, but I found myself again. In the eyes of my children,